Welcome to the AI and Digital Transformations podcast. I'm your host, Zenah Hemedan, the Director of Projects and Educations at the PMI Malta Potential Chapter. And today I have a special guest, Maurizio Mamo, the founder and CEO of Foresight Group. Maurizio has over 2 decades of experience in IT and digital transformation. He established Foresight in 2008 and has been at the forefront of helping business promoting technology for success. Maurizio, thank you for being with me today. And could you start by sharing a bit about your background, your role in the digital transformation world?
Sure. So I have been in diverse roles within businesses, focusing mainly initially on IT, I would say since early 2000s. Initially, by profession, I was an IT systems engineer by profession initially, but then moved more towards business. So today I have years of experience in managing IT businesses, not IT businesses. And why digital transformation? Digital transformation was always interesting because since the beginning of my career, I always found that people could never understand that IT is not there to solve problems. It's there to help you strategize and guide your business. So the majority of businesses, especially locally, used to have a big deal of issues in releasing funds, in allocating budgets, simply because they used to perceive IT as a cost. Today, luckily, things have changed and IT drives business. So digital transformation is obviously very important for any serious business that wants to grow.
I cannot agree more on this. Well, speaking about misunderstanding and how people look into digital transformation, I mean, with your experience and long experience in the digital transformation, I'm sure you encountered many misconceptions. So is there anything in particular as the big misconception or the big myth that you faced in your career?
I mean, we in my company, we deploy a lot of deployments in relation to ERP and other solutions, cloud-based solutions, for a variety of needs. I think one of the biggest issues with businesses anywhere is that they do not understand that their effort is as big as the supplier's effort when implementing a system. Okay, so it is not a project you are subcontracting or contracting to someone to deliver for you. You sit down, business as usual, nothing happens, and that's it. You need to put time and effort in it. You need to allocate a project manager on your end to manage the project. You cannot expect the system to set itself up on its own, to configure your data on its own. One of the biggest problems is that any implementer, any project manager, any consultant will not know your business as well as you do. So you cannot expect him to deliver what you're after unless you actually get involved properly in the business,
That's very true. And it should start from the business to be a successful transformation. Very true. Now, this podcast is for the PMI chapter, and we're focusing on project managers. So as AI continue to evolve, there's lots of discussion about how AI will change the project manager's role, how AI will change the way we handle projects, etc. And I'm sure there will be more misconceptions, more myth coming into the table. So where do you see project managers or change managers, change leaders contributing the most in an AI-driven landscape?
Okay, so let's discuss a little bit about the misconceptions. Okay, first, because we need to start from that. So project managers by nature are very systematic. They follow processes. They have set ways on how to do things. And technically, if a customer follows these set ways, the project is always successful. Okay. The biggest misconception is that AI will take over roles of this kind. I think that AI is very far from that. And what I really think AI can really do and project managers can really benefit from AI is predominantly in automating recurrent processes, reminders, augmenting the project manager's capabilities. So when you are building reports, when you are putting forward certain strategies, AI is obviously fountain of information that you can actually tap into at any point in time when you feel that maybe you need additional information to provide to the customer, which usually would take a lot of time to compile, complete. And as you know, I would say the boring part of project managers, I would say, is the compiling of reports. You're not actively working in the project. It's more reporting what you findings, the issues, the challenges. You're building a report for the board. All of this needs not be the lengthiest part of your task. It should be more something that you can compile fairly quickly once you have all the points and all the notes. So I think that is one. The other part is analytics that you can pull out nowadays using AI from specific tools that are AI powered. Okay, so analyzing particular Gantt charts and tasks and areas of a project. Sometimes you have large teams, and these large teams are putting in job sheets or time sheets against the project. You need proper analytical tools when you have a lot of this information to be able to sift and analyze this data in order to be able to compile reports. And sometimes it's very easy to miss on things unless you have tools like this that can actually, make the process less painful. So yeah, that is, I think, where I find AI will help a lot with businesses. And some misconceptions that we have are exactly related to that and the lack of knowledge of that.
Yeah, you touch on a very good point. I mean, AI can take the routine work, repetitive tasks, and then we as project manager, we will have more time to make an impact, to make a positive impact on leadership, on people management. That's a very good point. So if we continue with the AI discussion, now I'm seeing lots of organizations, obviously speaking about AI, everyone is speaking about AI now. But there is a tendency of looking into AI as a tool, as a product. So organizations are hearing about different tools and they are implementing some tools or some solutions without a clear strategy, sometimes without the business consideration, as you spoke earlier. So from your side, you give advice to organization in your project. How can business identify the right area of AI integration within their digital transformation?
Okay, so technically speaking, AI is not very different from other solutions and other applications out there. Now, when I say not very different, not different in the fact that it is a solution, it is delivering results, it is providing an outcome. Okay. As a technology, it is very different from other solutions, of course, because of the level of automation it provides and the level of and the outcome it provides is so much different from other solutions that are just hard coded into a system. But what one needs to specify is that where the same needs are mentioned, you need to create a strategy. You need to build a particular setup and then understand where AI will fit in this setup. So when you're projecting what you're going to do, where you want to go, where you want to take your business, you need to come up first with your business requirements. And this is where then you can identify and align the use of AI within your business and within your plan and within your project. I think the biggest problem is that a lot of businesses hear this AI buzzword every single day, sometimes every single minute of the day, because if it is not a podcast, it's an ad, and everyone is throwing AI at everything. Unfortunately, because they do not understand what AI can do properly for them. Okay? So people do not understand that ChatGPT is not the only AI powered solution out there. Okay? So it's not just chatbots and agents, and AI can do so much more. But I think the best way to handle something like that would first and foremost do a proper strategy and research of what you're after. And then you do a proper strategy and research on how AI can fill the gap of what you're after.
Nice. I was in a similar discussion yesterday, actually, with a client about particular tools. So they asked me what AI tools you recommend. And I actually say it's similar to what you're saying. It's not about the tool. It's about your business. What are the gaps? What are the problems? How we can improve the business? And then we look into either a tool or maybe a custom AI software or AI functionality.
Indeed.
So I'm very
And,
much
and
aligned
I
with you.
also find that a lot of them do not understand the limitations too. So, you think that maybe you have a tool that can respond to things, that can do things in your stead without properly understanding the limitations of the tool, because there are limitations, especially to the more commercially available solutions out there. So, it is never as easy as, opening an account with a particular tool. It's more, what are the limitations and where you will need to customize those in order to actually overcome those limitations, and how much it will cost. So, although it brings a lot of power in the hands of the user, but the more custom solutions come at a cost at times, and businesses,
Yep.
unless they understand the limitations, will never be in a position to forecast and budget for these solutions properly.
That's correct. They also need to understand challenges, bias, security issue, and a long list behind
You
them.
named three of them, which are very, very hot topics.
Very good. I would like to also talk about the human aspects in digital transformation. Um, Obviously, we said it's not about the technology, it's about the business, but it's also about the people within the business. It's about the change management. Sometimes you need a change of mindset, and walking through the journey with the team. So, from your perspective, how can business prepare their employees for an AI-driven world?
Okay. So change management since the beginning of time with projects, both IT and not, have always been a challenge. Since the beginning of my career, whenever we were changing something that was impacting the user's experience, we always had a pushback, unless we actually prepared the users for the change. We sell them the idea, we sell them the improvement. And AI works exactly in the same way. I mean, it's a change, and it needs to be addressed in such a way. So you need to address the concerns of the users. You need to address the challenge this new technology will bring, especially maybe to the older generations who are maybe not that, easy around change and different solutions. You also need to address the misconceptions. Okay, I think one of the biggest issues that AI brought with it was the fact that people think, especially in low-skilled jobs, that AI will take over their job. Now, I think that there needs to be more education on that front. I honestly think that we need to teach people that if you don't know how to use AI tools properly, you will end up without a job. Not because AI will take your job, but because better, more skilled employees that understand how to use it will take your job. And this is something that is a bit of an issue. Wherever I mention AI improvements within infrastructures, people start saying, okay, but I'm going to start using this tool and eventually it will replace me. No, it won't. We will find you something more interesting to do where you can use AI to actually deliver 4 times what you're delivering today, maybe. And yes, there is the possibility that some jobs will be replaced, but if you skill yourself properly from now, you will be able to do so much more and you not need to be afraid of change. So yes, change management, I believe, is one of the issues. The second part is also when we're dealing with people is fear of losing their leverage. So you know that a lot of people, especially in middle management roles, uh, silo data, silo information. So what before was something that they had knowledge about, access about, and people needed to go to them. So they felt important. They felt that they mattered. Nowadays, if you feed all that information to an agent, that agent can reply to 80% of the questions that you used to reply to. Is that something bad? No, because you should not be holding your position within a company, within a business, purely because no one can go to anyone else for that information. You need to prove that you're worth the while simply because you possess skills that are potentially beneficial to the business, not the other way around. So all of these hit insecurities of individuals, and you need to learn to sell the product. You need to sell the ideas to these individuals to make sure that they do not feel threatened. And I believe that is one of the biggest challenges for a project manager who's trying to implement these type of solutions in a business.
They are, but very good advices. Thank you for that. Well, before we close this podcast, I want to finish with one question from your practical experience. Basically, it would be great if you can share with us a personal experience with the lessons learned coming out of it. There could be positive lessons learned, a big success. There could be constructive lessons learned for things that can happen in a better way. So I'll leave it up to you to share.
Okay, so well, let me just say that I usually look at challenges and challenging experiences as the go-to place where I learn because they take me out of my comfort zone. And so I always learn something from that. The repetitive stuff is boring, and I'm a person that lives in perennial change, unfortunately, for my wife. Most of the time because I drive her nuts coming up with new ideas. But I think one of the biggest challenges that I've had was way back, I think way back in 2017, 2018. We were actually preparing to push new services within the business. So at the time, we did not have the 4 pillars that our business runs on top today. We were building the last 2. So we had obviously hired a number of employees, and this was before all the AI and all the automation. And unfortunately, we during that year, out of a fault which was not ours, because we've had a number of key accounts that relocated out of the island at the time, we lost 5 big customers. So you can imagine we brought in a number of new employees were pushing, we were coming up with new ideas, new business models, that we could actually offer as part of our offering within the company. And suddenly you find that a substantial amount of your cash flow has been destroyed because of some strategic reorganization within some of the businesses that owned your customers. What did we learn from that? We learned that opportunities lie everywhere. The only problem is that a lot of businesses don't bother to look. We came out of those couple of years, which were not easy, stronger. We did not fire anyone. We kept our new recruits. I must say that it was not an easy task, but we project managed it properly. We looked at our weaknesses. We looked at what we were not doing properly or what we could improve in order to gain more traction within the market. And we doubled the revenue of our business in the period of 3 years. So what are the things I take from this experience? One always needs to find ways to reinvent himself. Now, using AI technology, using just, blood, sweat, and tears, pushing through difficulties, nothing is easy. Where change is concerned, definitely nothing is easy, but doing it in a strategic way, doing it in a professional way, always gets you places. So my piece of advice is do not be afraid of change, push through, and always find a way to look for new things that can help you improve your business, your life, and anything you decide to go for.
Well, thank you so much. That's a very positive advice, and I think it's very needed in the changing world in a moment. Thank you for that. Well, that brings us to the end of this podcast. A huge thank you, Maurizio, for being with me today. I really enjoyed this discussion. I hope that our listeners enjoyed it as much. We had Maurizio Mamo, the founder and CEO of Foresight Group, sharing his experience, his insights in digital transformation projects. For our listeners, thank you for being with us today. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. Keep an eye on the PMI Malta Potential Chapter page. Follow us on social media for updates on future activities, events, and more. Thank you for listening, and we'll meet in the next podcast. Thank you, Maurizio.
Thank you very much.